I decided to learn 5 crazy mini games from the second season of Squid Game, and here is how it went down. If you've seen the second season of Squid Game, then you are probably familiar with the Six-Legged Pentathlon, where the participants played these 5 intense mini games while being tied up together. The mini games were as follows: Ddakji, Flying Stone, Gonggi, Spin the Top and Jegichagi. And I decided to try to learn and master all these 5 games to see if I could survive. Game number 1, Ddakji. Ddakji is a card flipping game in which you have to use one card to flip the other 180 degrees. But before I learn how to play Ddakji, I need to actually learn how to make Ddakji. So I looked into some tutorials and started my little origami journey. So I found a pretty quick method and I managed to create these beauties, but unfortunately the bottom card did not budge. So this paper is way too thin. I'm gonna try to use a cardstock one. So then, using cardstock paper, I made this. But alas, these ones also would not flip. So I went back into my research and tested every method I could find online. First of all, regular paper just doesn't work. Cardstock paper worked a little better, but I was still unable to flip it because I still used the same method as I did with the first set of Ddakjis. And this is the final set of Ddakjis that I came up with. I found a different method that allows you to use one sheet of cardstock paper to create one Ddakji. With these ones, the surface area is much smaller, they are much thicker, so they have to work. There we go. 2 times in a row. Alright, 3 times in a row is no joke, this method definitely works. And just like that, I learned how to make and play Ddakji. Game number 2, Flying Stone. So with the Flying Stone, the idea is to knock down this little tombstone using this little stone. Alright, so let's give it a shot. Well, that was easy. So maybe let's just try to do it 2 more times. To sum up, Flying Stone, not that difficult if you've got a relatively good aim. Game number 3, Gonggi. Okay, now Gonggi is probably the craziest one of all. It's essentially about picking up and throwing stones, but there are 5 freaking rounds to this game. In the first round, you have to pick up the pieces one by one, like so. In the second round, you need to pick up 1, then 2 again. In the third round, you pick up 1, then 3, then 1. In fourth, you throw 1 piece into the air, place 4 on the ground, catch the 1, then you throw it up again, pick up the 4 pieces from the ground and catch it again. And in the last round, you have to throw all stones into the air and catch them with the outside of your palm and then catch them back. And what's even crazier is that in order to win, you have to complete all the rounds perfectly, one after another, in sequence, without missing any rounds or pieces. And if you mess up at any point in any round, you need to start over. So I'm actually still waiting for my Gonggi to arrive, but I didn't want to waste any time, so I decided to try and make them myself. And I think they turned out pretty well, so in case you want to check those out, the video link is in the description. And now let's see what we're working with. At the beginning, things weren't exactly going my way. Watching Squid Game, I was shocked at how good some of the players were at Gonggi, but somehow I was convinced that I could learn it as well. So I'm usually fairly good at learning stuff like that pretty quickly. There we go. Alright, now let's see round 3. Okay, that's gonna be much harder. But after that initial phase of failure, something shifted and I was actually doing pretty good. That is until rounds 4 and 5. Let's try round 4. I always end up dropping 1 or 2 of them. Nevertheless, I kept practicing until it clicked. That must be it. Let's see how round 5 goes. Unfortunately, even after trying for 40 minutes, I wasn't getting any better at round 5. For now, it seems impossible to complete all of the rounds one by one after another, without missing any. This is gonna take a lot of practice. I knew I wasn't going to get through all the rounds on that day, so I decided to postpone my suffering for now and move on to the next game, leaving Gonggi for the end. Game number 4, Spin the Tap. So in Spin the Tap, you have to wrap this little guy with a string and then throw it the right way so that it actually spins. I am not exactly sure about the origin of this game, because for example there is something called a Mexican trompo as well as Indonesian spin the top. Let me know in the comments if you've got a similar type of game in your country. I've already looked up how to wrap it properly, so I'm gonna do that now. Yeah, as you can see, the string barely reaches half of the trompo, but let's see how it works. So apparently you are supposed to throw it diagonally and not straight. And once you throw it, you are supposed to pull back your hand to make it spin. And sure enough, to my great surprise, I actually got it right the very first time. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2. Bam! Okay, I think it's safe to say that we have nailed Spin the Tap. Even though I was doing pretty good with the games, I was still afraid of what was ahead with Gonggi. Game number 5, Jegichagi. So Jegichagi is pretty straightforward. Use this object called Jegi to basically kick it and dribble it like you do with the ball. I actually made this Jegi myself also, so if you want to learn how to do that, then check out the video in the description. That's 3. Okay, it's not as easy as I expected, but then all of a sudden... Yes! There we go. Was I even recording? Yes, I was. On that note, I think we're done with the Jegi. There is not much more to it. I guess you could try and go even further than 5, but I'm fine with 5 because that's what they did in Squid Game. Alright, so at that point I've managed to win at 4 out of 5 mini games. We have conquered Ddakji, Flying Stone, Spin the Tap and Jegichagi. In the meantime, my Gonggi set arrived, and now the time has come to get back up on the horse and try to survive the hardest game of all. At the beginning, it really wasn't going my way. I wasn't even making it past round 2. But as I practiced, I was quickly getting better and better, and after an hour or so, I could complete most of my attempts at rounds 1, 2 and 3. I was still struggling with rounds 4 and 5 though, but I decided to commit the next hour to trying to complete all rounds in sequence, in hopes that maybe, just maybe, I could get lucky and actually win. And sure enough, after 40 minutes, this happened. Yes! Yes! I was overjoyed. I immediately posted the clip online and I was so happy that I was done with this challenge. That is, until I read this comment. Yeah, I messed up. I didn't know it at the time, but in Gonggi you cannot touch the other pieces while you pick them up. But I wasn't going to give up just yet. So I started another session of Gonggi. Rounds 1, 2 and 3 weren't a problem for me anymore, but I decided to practice round 4 on its own. And after some time I found out that you really have to smash the 4 pieces into the ground to make them stay in one place. So I started smashing and I immediately got much better. I still struggled with round 5, but nevertheless I decided to go for the win again. And after almost 2 hours, this happened. Again, overjoyed with my achievement, I go online, post the clip, just to find out I messed up again. As it turns out, in the last round, after you catch the Gonggi with the outside of your palm, you cannot rotate your hand to catch them back, you need to grab them from the top. At that point, I was mad. But then again, I was too close to give up, so the next day I went back into it. This time I decided to practice each round separately, focusing mainly on mastering round 5. And after an hour, I had a pretty good consistency with the last round. So for the last time, I decided to try to win. And as I was trying, I realized that I've made great progress with Gonggi. And after only 15 minutes or so, at last, I managed to win. Ladies and gentlemen, we've managed to win at all 5 mini games from the Six-Legged Pentathlon. It was difficult, I gotta agree, but practice truly makes perfect. If you've got any ideas on what challenges I should try next, then leave a comment down below. Lastly, if you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe.